3 divorces from Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. The Steelers have been under a microscope all offseason. Yesterday, Mike Tomlin spoke publicly for the first time in a few months and said there's been too much talk from the players who have left. Tomlin added, "We can't do this with hostages, man. We need volunteers. We need good players, good guys who want to be here. And if guys can't check those boxes, it's probably best for all parties involved to go our separate ways." We're joined by FS1 NFL analyst and former Steeler, Harrison. Good to have you back with us this morning. What do you make of those comments? We've been waiting to hear from Tomlin.
He said those comments before about, I think it was, he was talking towards Le'Veon. I think it was before Steelers-Ravens game.
Okay.
And he said, you know, we need volunteers, not hostages. That's just him saying something to them without having to directly, you know, say something to them. It's what's become known as a Tomlinism. You know? Iron sharpens iron. You know, standard is the standard. You know, replace you. We tolerate you till we can replace you.
That's good.
Things of that nature. But the thing that he did do is he started to try and get to where he's focusing on the 2019 Steelers. And I mean, it's been 2-3 months since he said anything, and I think that was a good idea for him because now everything has run its course. It is what it is. He could have took a little bit more accountability into the fact of the whole situation that went down, but he did veer it to, hey, they're not here. They're not part of this team, but I do have a Pro Bowl receiver. I do have a Pro Bowl running back in Juju and Connor. So that's what I'm focusing on now. You know what? Actually, we may talk too much. He had said that as a, you know, as a unit, as a group, we need to be more about action. It's more about what we do and, you know, how we go out there and play the game. So I like that he's focusing more on the Steelers of 2019 and what he has now and what they have to accomplish. But I feel like he could have took a lot more accountability for the whole situation.
In other words, to make a long story short, James, he says he wants guys that wants to be there, as opposed to guys that do not. He used the term volunteers, and these volunteers that are no longer there says, I ain't got no problem volunteering. But here's a guy that's been volunteering longer than me that he can tell me what I can do. Who his boss? Because when I got a problem with the other volunteer that's been here for 5-6 years longer than I have, and I got a problem with him, who do I go talk to? Because that volunteer that you're talking about, he think he the boss of me, and he can talk to me any kind of way. And if we both volunteers, I'm about to swell this volunteer up. Because
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can say that, but at the same time, that's just how a guy feels. If you don't approach this person man to man, say, look, I feel this way about the things that you're saying, then you won't have a common ground to understand. Like, a lot of guys believe that they can't approach. A lot of guys don't. Like, I don't know if AB did that. I can't say. I could say this. I could say that from talking to, you know, Ben, like, he thought it was all good because he tried to, you know, approach him at times. And, you know, from what their conversation was, you know, it was an understanding that they walked away from in those conversations.
Let me ask you a question. Defensive back Troy Polamalu said, yeah, we'd have made that play if James Harrison would have did what he was supposed to do.
We wouldn't do that. We would say we would make that play.
That is what he did. He said Antonio Brown, when Ben threw the interception in Denver, he said Antonio Brown ran the route short. And there was a third down play that James Washington, he got to make that play. That's what he said.
Also, James Washington said it was motivation to him, too. He said it helped him.
What's he supposed to say? Because he saw the other two guys that criticized him that's no longer there. He's a second-year guy. You talked a lot different in year 10 than you did in year 2.
No question.
Here's what intrigues me about this. Mike Tomlin has been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers for 12 seasons. That's a long time.
Yeah.
He's going into year 13 next year. He took over when he was 35 years of age, and you remember it well. It's almost like you guys are contemporaries in a way, right? Like you're almost kind of the same age range. So all of a sudden, he's getting grandfathered through taking any responsibility here, and most of the onus, according to you, should be on the quarterback. Like you're focusing most of your criticism on the quarterback.
Well, I believe I believe AB went to Coach Mike T, and Mike T probably bumped it upstairs. And when you bump it upstairs, well, Kevin Colbert, and they already told you how they feel about this situation. He been here the longest. He got them rings. You listen to him.
So, to me, I continue to defend Roethlisberger. So do you. You think he is a leader. Juju has now come out. He is a leader. Pouncey said he is a leader. And yet, This man has had the guts to occasionally criticize, justifiably so, Mike Tomlin. Am I right about that? So these Tomlin-isms, are they starting to go in one ear and out the other in the locker room? Because after a while, you just get worn out from that same old voice because you've heard all this stuff before.
Right.
Hostages and volunteers. You've heard it before. It's not new. It's clever, but it's not new to you. And it doesn't really hit home with you as a football player. So to me, as much as I love Mike Tomlin I don't know him like you know him, but when I just watch his post-game or his pre-game for that matter, I get fired up because he's fired up and he's a great speaker and it's motivational to me, but I don't know if his words are starting to wear thin in the locker room because he should have handled this situation better.
Yeah, he let it get
the buck should stop on his desk at some point here, leader or no leader for Ben or no Ben. In the end, he should be the leader of this team.
Yeah,
right?
he is the leader of this team. He's
Supposedly,
supposed to
he
be.
is.
You hire a head coach to lead those men.
And it started to feel last year like he was, quote unquote, losing the locker room. And I don't even know how to define what losing the locker room is. But he lost two key people. Well, Le'Veon obviously holding out. But again,
what you mean last year? You saw what happened after the Kansas City win.
I got it.
If you got the locker room, your player is not going live.
Okay, so is it fair for me to blame Mike Tomlin, who I don't want to do it because I still like him?
Yes.
But is it fair that I should blame him more than I blame the quarterback?
Yes.
Does he deserve a larger share of the blame? Yes.
It's like you got kids. Your kids act up, they're going to hold you responsible before the kid. So Ben doing what he's doing, it's the responsibility of the head coach to put that in check. It's like, my brother used to get into it. He would try to boss me. We brothers. Okay, he's 3 years older.
Yeah.
Granted, he's trying to boss me around. My grandma said, I'm the boss of both of you. Both of you sit you know what down.
Right.
That's how Mike Tomlin should have handled it.
That is true. I agree.
If players ever feel, now you understand this, James. Skip, you understand this. When players, we're both players, and we understand that the greater the player, the more leeway they have. But if the players ever feel that somebody has more privileges or they can do things and they don't get held accountable, all of a sudden, you're going to have people want the buck. And AB started to want the buck because he saw the way, when Ben mess up, y'all don't say nothing. But I mess up, y'all call me out.
I think the thing that AB got into a situation with Ben was that he did not like that he felt like he was being singled out and called out.
Calling him out.
Publicly. Yes. You know, the thing that even, when I played with those guys back in the day, with, like you said, Troy and them, like if we had an issue with each other, we never said anything publicly.
Exactly.
We went directly to each other. Like we talked to each other like trash. Something that if we said in the social media, you'd be like, these two, they hate each other. Like, like we let the quarterback get too much time, they get a deep pass or they throw a long bomb, like we had each other's neck on that field. But we never went into it publicly. The social media thing has brought a lot of this stuff to the head because everybody, like I said, is worried about how many followers they got, how many comments, everything, and everybody's trying to be so individualized in such a
try to build that brand.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, because this is what you have to understand. Like AB's social media account is public, so is Ben's radio show.
I know. It is. I don't disagree.
Ben is talking on the radio like you and I talking, walking down the hallway in the dressing room or something. Bro, when you say that, that's public. Do you understand how that's going to make it? He going to bark.
So you said yesterday you tried to peacemake a little bit between Ben and AB. Couldn't make it work.
No.
Mike Tomlin could make it work, I think. Why didn't he pull those two aside and say, we got to hash this out?
I don't think he could have made that work.
At that point.
At that point, it was just too far along. And to go deeper into it, like I said, he needed to take more accountability on his part. Yeah, earlier, and try and nip some things in the bud, I'll say, instead of letting it get, to where you're taking a yard, now you're taking, 10 yards. Now you just keep going more and more and more and more until now it's at a point to where you can no longer control it. And it is...
Ultimately, you can say Ben this and AB that and Le'Veon this, but ultimately, Mike Tomlin, he bears 85% of the blame because as the head coach, you got to keep all these egos in check. That's your job.
I know.
What you think? You ain't calling no plays, so you got to run the team, and you don't let it get out of hand. When your kids start, they start out small, and I used to tell my kids all the time, if you're gonna stay 5 or 6, I'll let you have your way. But you're not going to stay 5 or 6. You're going to be 12, you're going to be 15, you're going to be 18, you're going to be 27. Right. So I'm going to nip this in the bud now. Hey, my grandfather used to say, I'm going to break your plate right now.
Yeah.
To keep you from acting. That's what Coach T should have did. He should have nipped it. He should have broke the plate earlier, and he wouldn't have been here. There's no way with this kind of talent you hadn't at least gone to a Super Bowl, and you let it go?
So the Pittsburgh Steelers have a long-standing reputation for not firing head coaches. They keep them on. They let Chuck Noll just sort of retire, right?
Right.
Are they going to let this?
Coach Carroll walked away.
That's right.
Well, he has a year left on his contract.
Okay.
They haven't renewed that. So I think they're sitting back there waiting to see.
Is this a little bit of a hot seat starting to get
I feel
hot?
like it may be that situation because in years, past when he had a year left, he was renewed. Before that even got into that beginning of that year. So I think this is a situation
before the season,
sit back and see.
Before the season, they gave him a new deal. They don't want him going to.
So?
They add another year. Don't want him to be a lame duck.
I don't know. What if this team misses the playoffs again?
What?
Drama doesn't end here. Well, you think Big Ben's going to have a big year.
I do.
So
how you gonna miss? You can't miss the playoffs. You got the MVP quarterback skill.
That is something.
I think they're going to have a good year. I do.
I agree with
But it may not be because of Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
It's going to be because this team pulls together.
Come together in some way.
They're going to have a lot of outside voices doubting now. And that brings
what Cleveland going to do?
Well, it's your team.
You know they got old Baker. They got old Baker. He in the kitchen.
My guy.
He's on the bandwagon now.
Old Cleveland. They opened a lot of kitchens.
Cleveland now. They got OBJ. You on Cleveland now?
I love Baker, but I don't think they're better than Pittsburgh right now, right here now. Do I not like him?
I thought you didn't like him.
I don't love him in Cleveland. I don't love him. I'm not buying all the way in.
Not there yet.
He gonna help Baker get to the Pro Bowl.
Okay, James.
He will.
Good
He
stuff
can get
always.
the Pro Bowl by himself.
Don't do that. See?
Wow.
Well,
You always got to jump out of bounds.
I
didn't jump out of bounds. I jumped
Good to
out
have you with us, James. Appreciate your time. All right, things are getting ugly between Lonzo Ball and the Big Baller brand. Yeah, it's pretty messy, and we'll tell you the latest next.